Hi friends, Russ here again, having some more Daisy lever gun fun. And we've been getting a lot of requests from folks wanting to know how the progress on the double barrel assembly is coming. Well, I'm going to show you what the next phase is for this. If you remember from the first video I told you about, well, I had two pretty similar Red Ryders here that had similar internals, but there were some differences. They looked like they had different roll stampings on them. They looked like they perhaps had assembly insides that were slightly different. But all in all, they're exactly the same length, same profile, and so forth. So we're going to solve one of the problems here of how you load both of the barrels. You know, if you take one of these, the loading gate is always on the left side of the front barrel. Well, that won't do you. If you put two of these guns together, the one that's on the right side is going to have the loading gate hidden. So what we do in that case is we take the gun, and I used actually a large pipe cutter, and I was able to split the gun apart here. You can see that little seam. And I took a piece of, actually the front piece of an older gun that I had tore apart, and I cut a piece out of this section here. There's always that seam in the bottom. I used that for one cut. It wasn't attached, of course, and I took a saw and just cut across there, and then I squeezed this just with a pair of gas pliers until I had it exactly right to not force this seam apart, but just to ride inside of it. So what I'm going to do with this is either by using a very, very strong adhesive that will hold this metal in place, or maybe I'll do some silver soldering like I like to do on this sheet metal. And we're going to put this together with an inner sleeve like this. We'll turn this 180 degrees so that the bottom seam now is going to be lined up with the top center of this, and vice versa, so that whenever we assemble these two guns, the one on the left will have a visible loading gate, the one on the right will have a visible loading gate. This does present one little problem. Whenever you put these guns together, this back section, because it has a little larger diameter than the front of the barrels, it's pretty tight, but then that also establishes a gap in here. So what I like to do, and what I've done in the past on these doubles, is I'll make a band to go around the front. It'll come up one side, go across both barrels, down to the other side, and it'll hold it into position. It's easy to secure those, because typically what I do here is I'll take a muzzle plug like this. This, of course, is the one that rides on the front here of the shot tube. I'll take the muzzle plug and I'll cut off the front sight from the top of it. So whenever I install it, I can put that in just about any direction I want. So I have something solid on the side. That's important because let's say this side here has a little band coming up around. It goes across the other barrel, holds it in place. They go down about 3/4 of the way on the side. I could put a little screw in. The screw through the band, through the barrel shroud, and into the plastic. That does a couple of things for me. It holds the barrels parallel, and it also holds the muzzle plug from coming loose. Normally, it relies on this little wedge here getting caught in that hole. But whenever we turn one of these around, it doesn't have the advantage of having that any longer. Now you say, without front sights, how are you going to know what to line up to your back sight? Well, I have a way to deal with that too, and I'll show you whenever we get these guns together. Okay, well that's progress on this, and this is how we're going to assemble it. Naturally, I'm going to have to make my own bolts with a smooth shank on the inside for the caulking levers for our rivets that I removed here is going to be one solid bolt going through, and it'll have a smooth shank on it except for where the nut fits on the end. And we're going to do some fancy dancing back here whenever it comes time to build the stock and how to mount that. So the next time we talk, I hope to have these done. As far as appearance wise, I like to do something a little different on these. Normally I would paint them black. Black paint always seems to go well with these doubles, but I've been doing something lately with a few other guns that I really enjoyed, and I think I'm going to give it that treatment. It's not going to be a cold bluing like I have done with some of the other guns. What it's going to be is a painted surface, but I really like the color and I like the effect, so I think we're going to go with that. Then I'm going to do some work on getting a rear stock to fit, and also what to do about the caulking levers. Now you have two separate caulking levers. That may or may not be convenient. I like to put them together so you can caulk both of the sides of the rifle at the same time. So there is one consideration you have to be very careful of, and I'll explain that in the next video whenever we get to that point. All right, folks, I hope you like the progress so far. If you have any questions, give me a shout. Don't forget to subscribe. There it is. We'll talk to you next time.